All right, everybody, welcome back to another Muffins of Morgan. Instead of a Friday, we're doing it on a Thursday because we have a special guest, Jasmine Star. And as always, y'all know how we start this out. Like, I got the soundboard. We're ready to go. I told
I mean, like you bring out the laser horns to a Puerto Rican, and I'm like, oh, I'm home. Yes, let's go.
I told you we're ready when it comes to this show. So everybody tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from. We always like to show some love. Luke, thanks for already saying hello. But let us know where you're tuning in from. This is going to be an exciting show for sure. 45 minutes, action packed, tactical advice. Jasmine Star is here. If y'all don't know who Jasmine Star is, I don't know what you're doing, but we're about to talk about that in a minute. But again, let us know where you're tuning in from. Love to see where everyone is at. And also as well, let us know if you have a win or a highlight of the week. We always like to celebrate people here as well if we can. And Jasmine Star, how do we know each other? So I've been following Jasmine for, I don't know, maybe 3-4 years now at this point. We connect on the call. She's helped me a lot along in my journey. I see her as a digital mentor. We've got to know each other more in the past couple months and has incredible content, photographer, business owner, social media, like curator that you're doing, social media across the board, you're dominating. I mean, you probably have more highlights you want to talk about, but she's definitely someone that you definitely want to follow. Jasmine, do you want to tell us a little bit more about yourself? And we'll dive into the questions here.
Absolutely. But like the goal here is to serve people. So I'm going to keep it very, very, very short. I am CEO of Social Curator. I'm a first generation Latina and a first generation business owner. And my sole purpose is to empower people to build strong businesses that change their lives and change their legacies. And the easiest, quickest path to results, maybe not the results that we want, but the quickest path to results that I have seen has been on the back of creating content and sharing that content on social media. It is a very sharp feedback loop and it empowers us to move faster than our competition if we use it with a strategy.
I love that. I love that. And let's shout out some people that are coming in. We have some amazing people across the board. So shout out to where we're at. We got Chile in the house. We got shout out to ATL. Y'all know what it is. We got Portland in the house. OC, India. I always shout out to India because when anytime I'm doing this, I know it's mad late for y'all. So I always show love to y'all every single time. We got Washington, Houston in the house, the Berg. So we got shout out to, let's see here, Alabama. Which part in Alabama? Phoenix. I love Phoenix. Singapore. Have you been there, Jasmine? Have you been to Singapore?
I have not been to Singapore. No.
Beautiful city. Beautiful city. But don't chew gum because it's a felony. Like real talk.
Thank you.
Look, almost your boy almost got caught. I was like, wait, hold up. Like, y'all are going to take me to jail for gum. This is crazy. So, yeah, you got to watch out. All right, Toronto, Memphis in the house. Amazing Pakistan. So, we also have someone in Social Curator, so shout out to them as well. So, look, y'all, what are we here to do? At Muffins with Morgan, what I do is I bring on amazing guests. We unpack their knowledge or insight to help people across the board. We have some fun. I have the mini bite muffins. That's how I roll. I will, and then
I mean, like this is how we do in Newport Beach. Is that you have your mini muffins, and out here they like curated some gold flake muffins. It's like, listen, the way I'm going to show up in this call is like how this muffin is appearing before me. It's like it's going to be high quality. It's going to be super thick and dense, and we're just going to hit it with the ground running. And so shout out.
I love it. I love it. So shout out to everyone across the world. So here's the thing. This is going to be an interactive conversation. I will be asking Jasmine questions. I know that you guys want to learn more about social. That's why you're here. But you also can ask questions as well. But before we do that, I always like to get a pulse of what we're doing here. On a scale of 1 to 5, please put this in the chat. And there are no wrong answers here because some of us may have been at certain levels, and that's fine. That's part of growth and evolution. On a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being I'm the best when it comes to social media and using content to sell. 1 being like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm a novice, but I like to learn. What are you in the chat? So 1 is I have no idea how to like start content and using it to sell for my services or business or whatever you're looking to do. 5 being like, I'm pretty good. Like I'm probably one of the best. Let us know in the chat. And here's the goal. This is why I'm asking y'all this question, because it's just not about taking this information, being excited about it, and then like just leaving. That's not what we're here for. What we're here for is whatever you put to go grow at least 0.5 or 1 point out of this conversation. Now you may say, well, it's only 45 minutes. I do believe that out of this conversation, you will gain at least 0.5 or 1 point. I can guarantee that. So we got a lot of people. Darren's got -5. So hey, Darren, we got you. We're gonna get you at least to a 1. We're gonna skyrocket you. But we got 1s, 3s, 2s, and 3s. 4. Shout out to that. 1, 2.5, 3, 2, 3. I think we're probably going to see mostly 2s and 3s here across the board. Shout out.
Michael said he's no Gary V. Very few people are, honey. If Gary V, if Gary V's at the peak, I mean, I'm happy to kind of like swing just behind him.
All right, y'all. So that's the goal. We're gonna go to 0.51, and I want y'all to remember your number, and we're gonna come back to it at the end of the day and see what happens. So let's start with the first question I have here, and I think this is actually really important because if people were to see your following, right, you have almost 500,000 on Instagram, killing it on YouTube, progressing and doing your thing on LinkedIn, right? You're clearly know what's going on. I don't want to ask like, hey, what was success? I actually want to talk about something that's important because I know it happens in every single person's journey when they create content. When was the time that as you were creating content, it maybe wasn't going as well as you thought it should have been going, and you wanted to quit, and what kept you going to create the content to serve the people you wanted to serve?
Well, I'm gonna be really honest with you, Morgan. I don't look back at my career and think, oh, that was the time I thought social media was really working for me, or I
Mm-hmm.
felt like it was easier, or I felt like it was in flow. Maybe that exists for other people. And
Mm-hmm.
I do think that when you are able to document and not produce content, if you're able to document what it is you're doing in the moment, the content feels lighter because
Mm-hmm.
you're not overthinking it. You're just doing what it is you do. But what I have seen and what I've experienced is that in order to get to the point to where you can document what it is you're doing and that becomes the content, you have to produce so much on the front end. So years of being strategic around putting out content you think people want. And that's the suck, right? So there is a framework that I often share with entrepreneurs, and it's a 3-part framework, but the second zone is where most people quit because
Mm-hmm.
that is the hardest zone. So the framework is do, be, and see.
Okay.
We must do the work without knowing whether or not that work is good. We must do the content without really knowing the outcome or the efficacy of that content. And then we need to be. We need to be with it. We need to just spend years of creating content and actually seeing what is resonating with my dream customer. What is actually moving the needle? And this is where a lot of people just they don't want to listen to this conversation. They don't want to look at our muffins. They don't want to hear us slurping our coffee because this is the part that people don't like. It's very difficult to tell somebody, okay, great. Now you have a LinkedIn profile. You're really creating content either as a side hustle to position you as an industry authority, to be avant garde in your thoughts, or as a division to create leads for what it is you're selling. Fine. And then I say, okay, no, we're going to do this day in and day out for 2 to 3 years before we have an opinion
Mm-hmm.
about the content we are creating. And people hear that and they're like, oh no. You see, I joined this conversation with Morgan and Jasmine because I want to learn how to sell. And I'm like, baby, if you want to learn how to sell on social, I believe if you want to learn how to sell in the 21st century, you have to create content. It is the creation of the content that feels laborious and heavy and very taxing because people often think, well, I got into this, I didn't get into that. Like
Yeah.
marketing feels like a second full-time job. Okay, cool. I feel that, but it's also the state of things. So in my mind, you have one of two opinions here. It is either I am of the opinion that this feels like a second full-time job and it is a lot of work, but I will still continue to do it, or this feels like a second full-time job and it feels like a lot of work and it's just not for me. No problem. Both of those decisions are totally fine, but you have to own that decision. You can't complain that LinkedIn isn't working for you because the real question is, are you working for it? And
Mm.
until we get there, that is the B. I must be with this content. I must look at the content. I must not get over or give up on the content. Then what we then need to do is see. We get to see the results. Do the work, be with it, and then see the results. And that is a long process. And some people just need to be told that's the state of it. There's no magic thing. At the time of this recording, we're seeing how a quote unquote new social platform, Threads, is out leveraging Instagram. And so I think to myself, there's going to be more options for people to create, but more people often get overwhelmed. In my mind, we're we're going to start off with what are the basics? What can I commit to? What platform is going to be the best for me to get the leads that I want? I'm going to do the work. I'm going to be with the results, and then I'm going to see the outcome.
I love that. And so do BC. Hopefully y'all took notes on that. I want to go into what you said the hardest part, which is, so I'm looking at my whiteboard desk here, is B. And I think a lot of people, they're like, wait, 1-2 years? Jasmine, that's a long time. In the retrospect, not really. If you really think about from a career standpoint, it's actually really not. But again, it's hard to be in that muck to go through it. So let's say, okay, people are doing the work, right? They're actively, reaching out to the clients they need to get. They're doing the work in their business, great. But now B is like talking about those things. How should someone start? Is it like, do I do a post a week? Is it a video? Do I write a blog? Like, where do I even start to create this content to start being?
So I always say to do as much as you can, however you can. I would never say like, oh, video content is the only way you'll be a success. Not at all. Some people are stronger on video. Some people are stronger in spoken word, like on podcasts. Some people are phenomenal writers. I think it's going to be a little bit of self-awareness for you to know, what am I right now the best at? You will get better at everything. But right now, for the easiest lift and for you to get to a state of flow, what is it that you can do now? So let's just say written word is your strength. So I like to look at long form content and then repurposing the content, because I used to be in the game where I would be creating lots of medium sized content and then I wasn't strategic about how I was repurposing it. Mm-hmm. So let's just say I'm going to create a long form piece of written word. I would most likely start off with a newsletter. And with a newsletter, I would write it out in my most candid form. And then when I was just solopreneur, me just being me, I would get the newsletter and I would repurpose it later on a blog post. And then after the blog post, I would look and say, okay, what were the things that people in the comments were popping off about? What made them excited? And they had said X, Y, and Z. Then what I'm doing then is creating small social pieces of content for Facebook and Instagram on the things that people found the most valuable, what resonated with them. And so then that newsletter became a blog post, became 2 or 3 other social posts. But let's just say, like right now, you and I are streaming live on LinkedIn. I would use that same piece of content that I had written and that I would create an outline for what I'm going to be saying on a live. So I don't come in like completely blank, but then I don't have to start from zero. And then what I would do is I would extrapolate the video and then I would upload it to YouTube. And then I would look at that YouTube video and I would say, oh, I can see from the insights on YouTube where people were like giving a good reaction or where the fall off was. Well, then can I create a clip from the point just before the fall off that I could create a YouTube short? And then I create a YouTube short. And if I created a YouTube short, I would be able to post that on Instagram stories or make a reel out of it. I would be able to upload it to Pinterest as a short pin. So we start with one piece of content. And then all you're doing, and guess what? You're not on anybody's timeline. Everybody thinks like, oh, well, I got to, write this blog post and then I need to do everything in like 3 days. Like, not at all. Like, you need to look at that one piece of content and be like, what is the pace that I am doing? Now, let's flip the script. Let's say that you're just so good off the cuff and like video is going to be where it's at and you want to stream on LinkedIn. Go on and do you. And then you could export the transcript of it and then go through and start highlighting what are the strong pieces here. Have a quick edit. You could do the edit. You could hire somebody on Fiverr to say like, can you take out the ums? Can you take out this? Can you give me a blog post from this? And then you turn that into a blog post, to a newsletter, to micro pieces of social content.
No, I love that, because there's so many different ways that you can repurpose things, and it's not just it's not just you need to do 10 different things. You can do one thing that allows you to do 20 different things at the same time, just like you had broke that down. And for everyone listening in, if you have any questions, feel free to chime in. We're here to answer your questions here. And, also as well, in being how, I think this is also something that people get caught up in as well. And a lot of people that I talk to that are sales reps or starting out content creators, they are really conflicted on how personal they should be. Like, some people are like, wait, should I just be only business the entire time? Should I be only just straight my personality? How do you mix both? I think you do that really well. And I think people struggle with that often.
So I like to think of it as an 80-20 rule. And that's Pareto's law. Like, I'm not making anything new. It's like, here's the thing. If I was to be a lifestyle content creator, then 80% of my content should be about me, my lifestyle, what I'm doing. But I'm an entrepreneur. Sometimes people will say, oh, well, Jasmine Star, she's an influencer. And I'm like, no, I'm a CEO with influence. And there
Mhm.
is a difference there.
Yep.
So 80% of the content that I am creating is to serve a specific person. My dream customer is a business owner. My dream customer is C-suite. And so I'm looking at these people saying, what could I put out today that serves them well? Then the 20%, well, the 20% is just like, I want to create a post on how grateful I am to have a co-founder who is my husband and high school sweetheart.
Mhm.
I will have another post perhaps about balancing what it means to be a mother and an entrepreneur, right? So 80% of my content is going to be who can I serve? Like who needs what I have to say? And here's the thing when it comes to being strategic, when it comes to selling, is that social selling doesn't ever exist in a feed or in a post. Selling really exists on the one-to-one connection. So
Right.
if you're saying, oh, well, I'm not getting sales in the back of social media, well, then my question to you is like, what is your pathway to move somebody from a view to a comment and from a comment to a DM? And then what's your follow-up? What is that actually looking like? How are you cultivating long-term relationships? And the higher ticket item that you are selling, the longer you're going to have to cultivate that relationship. And so oftentimes, if you are selling something on the back of social that is less than $99, then you could probably, this is like a no-brainer. Maybe I'll buy this $99 ebook or course or book a $99, 20-minute introductory call. Other than that, it is going to be a long term investment in investing with people. So for instance, at the time of this recording, we are cultivating a behind the scenes entry point for a mastermind. I host a mastermind and I don't really want to be putting it so much out on social. So what we've done is cultivated long-term relationships on a wait list. So the wait list, people sign up, they put in their social contacts. And so then I have a task to go in and I go back to their accounts and I'm engaging with them. I
Right.
have a reminder of my leads. So much so that when I have cultivated those relationships and then they see that I'm actually caring about their business without anything, what I then would do would then create a personalized video with an invitation for somebody to join the mastermind. It is these high touch things for a very for an expensive offer. So the more expensive the offer, the longer the cultivation, the more the personal driving, the longer you're gonna have to wait. But the ROI on that is well worth the time.
Yeah. So what? And we have two questions that come in. Like, if y'all have more questions, definitely drop it in. What I'm hearing, and I think that's really important, is that you're able to distinguish based on the offering how much time you need to put into it, and also being thoughtful in that. Right? You have a wait list. You're reaching back out to those people. You're showing them love, and also that's a unique advantage because most people are not doing that. Right? They're just like,
Absolutely.
hey, like this is what the offer is. Best of luck. You're saying no. I'm actually being thoughtful, and I know that. But you may have other offerings where it's like, yeah, I know I don't, that doesn't require that high touch because it doesn't have that high value. So you have to correlate the time with the value, which makes sense. And a lot of you are building certain things out there, so that's helpful. But so we have a couple questions in here, and you've answered them a little bit, but we're gonna go more granular. So here, right here, it says build pipeline. So two objectives: build pipeline for work and my own coaching sessions. How do I keep the balance?
Well, you have to think of what I always look at this and I answer the question in terms of revenue. There are when you look at these things, you have your personal and then you have leads for a different type of offer, different type of business. Fine. But I want to look at what is your revenue funnel right now? How much of your revenue is currently made up from your consulting and how much of your revenue is made up from leads?
Mm.
Cultivating that. Once you have that percentage, ask yourself, what do I want it to be? If you like that 10% of your revenue is coming from your consulting and you're like, that's where I like it. It's manageable. This is what I don't want to build out a team. This is perfect for me. Well, then I would say 10% of your content should be around what it is that you do that's consulting. But if you're saying 10% is what it is currently, but I would like to move it to 50%, then I would say you got to move the needle to talk about the offer that you are creating as a consultant so that half of the content is really reflective of that. Now that's just a general rule of thumb. That is just,
Right.
it's not a science, but to me that was the easiest way for me to say, okay, what is it that I want to sell? And then index that your content against that. Your content should really be addressing a pressure point for a prospective customer or client.
Yeah, so I guess it sounds like it, and let us know if that helped answer the question there. You want to make sure, ultimately, of the day, to even compound on that, is that you're making sure that every task item and thing that you do from an energy standpoint is correlated to the percentage that you want.
Correct.
Right. So like if you want 50% and you're like, well, I only do 1 post a week. That might not be it.
Yeah. Can we ask Morgan, can we ask that question? Because I just love when we have live conversations. How many times are, my question to you, not to you, Morgan, but to people who are watching, how many times a week are you posting? Just if you could drop that in the chat, that would be very helpful to contextualize what we're actually talking about. Because oftentimes I have conversations with entrepreneurs and CEOs, and then they say, "Oh, I'm very active on social." Great. Well, since this conversation is happening on LinkedIn, let's talk about that. Like, I'm very active on LinkedIn. I'm like, that's amazing, phenomenal. How many times are you posting? I am posting once a week. Okay, that's probably not very active.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is actually like have a baseline of what does it mean to be considered active. And so I am seeing 5 times, 1 time, a minimum of 3. That's great. So as people continue to let us know how many times that they are posting on LinkedIn, I'm going to ask a question to you. If you and I wanted to get a 6-pack, I look at content creation identical to a fitness routine. Isn't it? So if you want to get a 6-pack and I want to get a 6-pack, and you decide I'm going to meal prep and I'm going to go to the gym 6 days a week and I'm just going to watch my caloric intake. I'm a meal prep. I'm going to go to the gym 6 days a week and I'm going to watch my caloric intake. And I want a 6-pack too. But like, I'm not sure how much meal prep I want to do. I like living life as I do. And on the gym, like when I go to the gym, I like, you know, if it fits in my schedule, I'll maybe go in like 1 or 2 times a week.
Yeah.
And when it comes to caloric intake, it's kind of sort of, I'm tracking it ish. My question is, who do you think is going to get the results? The person who meal preps, goes to the gym with consistency, and watches their calories, AKA analytics, or me, who's kind of sort of doing the thing without the plan? We are both going to get results. Whether the results that we want has yet to be determined.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you're showing up on places like LinkedIn with consistency, and when I talk about meal prep is truly just planning your content. It's like planning the content is the hardest part. I promise you, if you said, all right, I'm posting on LinkedIn once a week, and my new goal is going to be to post 3 times a week. Great. If you sit your booty in a chair for 20 minutes and just title what the post is going to be about, half the work's done. It's just when we put ourselves and we're like, oh man, it's Wednesday. Got to be posting on LinkedIn. What am I going to post today? I don't have any ideas. This
You're all over the place. Yeah, you're sweating.
You know, it's literally planning in advance will relieve half of the burden.
I love that. And so if that goes back to, hopefully that answers a couple people's questions that are out here. Also as well, Morgan, I see you in the chat. Yes, this will be recorded. It'll be on LinkedIn and also on YouTube for you to go check out. So if you miss anything, you can go and take those notes. And I absolutely agree. The kids, we got the kids here. The kids definitely agree with you as well. I mean, I think the biggest thing is that like you really have to be strategic in the way you do your content. Otherwise, just to your point, most people that I do talk to, they're like, wait, hold up, I gotta post something. They freak out, then it's rushed, then it's bad. Then like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. It's spiral, right? Strategically set yourself up to get that done across the board. So we got a couple more questions coming in. This is interesting. What content planner do you use to post across all the various platforms?
Oh, well, that's very interesting because I am CEO of Social Curator, and y'all, I created Social Curator to be the answer to the dilemma of not knowing what to say and not being able to post on every platform all the time in all the ways. So Social Curator empowers a business owner to create their content in our platform and schedule it to Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok is also coming. So you can upload your own photos and videos, or you could use our own resources. And we also have an AI social media manager. Her name is Dottie, and Dottie helps you create content, long form, short form, finds your voice, helps you come up with things. And so then what I would do is create my content, schedule it out on platforms that it needs to go. And then what I do in my calendar is have designated engagement time. Because the beauty about social is people are like, oh, well, I want to sell on social, but it's not called selling media. It's social media. So yeah. I actually have to build time in my day to go out and be social. And people are like, I don't want to do that. Well, yeah, I mean, neither do I. but I want to create personal connections. I want to be able to have a business. I want to be able to go on vacation when I want to go on vacation. I want to be able to work from home with my business partner and my daughter. So I do things I don't really want to do to get results that other people don't have. Not because I'm good, unique, or special, but because I am nothing but consistent. So somebody had said, so are you saying you need a content plan? I'm absolutely saying you need a content plan. If you want to be a big hitter and you actually want to see sales on the back of social media, having a plan. And here's the thing, there is no judgment about the type of the plan. If you're like, I am doing my best, I'm a caretaker, I have a full-time job, this is just a side hustle, and you say once a week is what I can do. Well, hot dang, I applaud you. Go out and do the dang thing, but own it. Own and give yourself grace for how long that journey is going to be, but there's not a right or wrong. But yes, do a content plan. Yes, social curator is where scheduling and planning and goes out. Putting time in to go back and engage has been a game changer for me.
I love that. So hopefully it helps answer the questions that people put in there as well. I want to talk about the experience that you just mentioned on social around your time blocking, time management. This is absolutely important. So this is a two-part question. First part is a straightforward question, which is, how are you time blocking? Are you doing it every single day, or not every single day? Are you doing it like every week at a certain time? And then when you go and comment and when you do certain things, what type of flow state do you try to get yourself into? Are you listening to music? Is there like a certain spot that you do it in? I'm just really curious on that as well.
Yeah. So I wish I was better. So at the top of the week, I look at my calendar and I could see the high level time blocking. But when I started getting very granular with, let me look at this week and time block it down to a T, I realized that, like, just honest to God, life happens. Like, if you're living with somebody, life will happen. If you have children, life will happen. If you're a caretaker, life will happen. So what I decided to do was, like, let me hold space for this week of time blocking. So, okay. So Mondays, it is an all meetings day. I have no makeup. I don't do my hair. I grind. I start my meetings at 6:30 in the morning. I then do breakfast with my daughter. I go and work out. I come back, and then my booty is in the chair from 9 o'clock to 4 p.m. in just meetings. So I get in the 100% zone of, I'm going to burn out. This is what I'm doing, but I'm getting so much done.
Right.
Tuesdays are the days. So outward facing days for me are Tuesdays and Thursdays. I do my hair and makeup on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And for guys, it's like, wait, what? Yes, I have to plan it because I'm just like, I don't really want to do other things. God be strategic. And so then Fridays are mostly, every other Friday is a content creation day. So when we talk about flow states, I know that I have more time to engage Mondays and Wednesdays than I do on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Now, we have a high level view of, this is what I'm doing this week. These are the days that I'm outward facing and inward facing. These are the days that I take my meetings. And then the day before, I am looking at my time schedule. So last night, I was looking at, like, great. So my morning is going to start at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then I have 6 meetings today, 5 of which are outward facing, which means I'm on a camera or I'm talking to somebody for a podcast or an interview or a consultation.
No, I love that. We got to give that we got to give it all the fire, air horns, whole entire thing. I think that's a great way of thinking about it, like theming out your days for your week. So you're not just like, oh, I'm just showing up on whatever. Like, this is exactly what's going on. Life can happen. Obviously, you make those adjustments, but you've themed it out. We're right here at the halftime. We do this at Muffins of Morgan.
Oh, but wait, I didn't answer the second question, Morgan.
Okay, go.
I feel bad.
Go. Let's go. Let's answer.
Okay. When you had said, what kind of flow state do you get into when you get into comments? Well, so today when I looked at the time blocking, I have a 15-minute buffer between the end of this call and my next call. So if we stick on our timeline, then I have 15 minutes to go back in and engage. And then after the next call, I have a 10-minute buffer. I'm mostly going to go back and engage. So I've already posted on Instagram, I have posted on Threads, Facebook and LinkedIn are going to come after the call. So I'm just staggering the amount of time. Like, when I engage, I'm literally doing it in 5 or 10-minute blocks. If I'm at the grocery store waiting in line, I'm engaging. If I have any sort of downtime, if I'm waiting in a doctor's office, I'm engaging. And so I am just trying to find whatever pockets I can. Can I respond to every comment in every way? No. But can I make sure that I'm prioritizing my direct messages and answering within 24 hours? Hell yes, because DMs are where your ride or dies exist. And then
Right.
my comments, I try to do the best I can on all of my platforms, however I can pop in.
I love that.
Yeah.
Great answer. Well, I
Okay.
asked you a couple questions. We're gonna get into that. This is where we just do the halftime report, and really, this is just what. Some of you are like, what does this even mean? All right, so here's the thing. This is where we make sure that everyone is feeling good. All right, because we have about 14 minutes left. If you have questions, now is definitely time to answer them because doing this all in a timely manner. But for everyone that is listening in, let us know, are you finding this helpful and insightful? What Jasmine is saying. If not, we obviously can shut this down. It give her more time to engage. But let us know if this is helpful and insightful in the chat. We want to make sure that everyone is feeling good, everyone's vibing what we're talking about, and that you're actually getting something out of this. Right? We talked about what your 1, 2, 3, whatever is going to be. We want to take you to that next level across the board, and that's our goal here. So let us know if you found this helpful, insightful, and then we're going to dive into some other questions here as well. So what as we get the feedback here, this is another question, and you kind of already answered this, but if you want to expand, I do believe each platform does have a unique spin to it. But the question is, can you use the same content for each platform?
Yes, we spoke about that a little bit earlier when we can repurpose content. And the only advice I have for repurposing is to try your best not to repurpose on the same day. Because what happens is like studies show that people, what they call platform hop, they'll be scrolling on LinkedIn and then maybe they go over to Facebook or maybe they go to their Instagram. And if your followers are following you on LinkedIn and on Instagram and on Facebook and they're seeing the same content, they're not going to be engaging. If they liked and left a comment on LinkedIn, they're not going to like and leave a comment on Facebook and Instagram because I already said what they had to say. And
Yeah.
so the goal is to stagger the content so that you're optimizing for your audience seeing different content on different platforms at different times.
Okay, cool. And that's just making sure that you're just being thoughtful there. Another question that has come in is, you already mentioned this? Do you have holidays? Like, I'm assuming yes, but now let's actually dive more into that. How do you structure your holidays? Are you like, I know people have so many different thoughts on this. Are you like 5 months all in, let's go, and then you're like, I take a week off, detach, you come back? Like, how do you go about this?
I know that I could be a heck of a lot better. So here's the thing, Morgan. When I was 25 years old, my mom had a relapse of brain cancer. And it was at that time that I had a really big coming to with this idea of time, that none of us are guaranteed the next minute or the next hour or the next week. And so I started looking at every single minute as if it's the most precious thing. Every morning I wake up and the thing I say, thank you, God, I woke up today. Like we have to this is the immensity of it. Like we all could be having terrible, sad, hard days. I get it. But we each morning have an opportunity to try yet again. So if my first thing that I think every morning is, thank you, God, I woke up. Thank you, God, I have my health. Thank you, God, I could try again. If then that becomes the case, then I need to know that when I am given a minute, I have been given the greatest gift. And so when people say, do you take holidays? I know I could get better. And the answer is yes, I take holidays, but I go hard and I go hard a lot of the time. And this is not a prescription. It's not advice. It's not even a piece of something I think you should do. Everybody will go at their own rate. I am hardwired to take every freaking minute and maximize it the most I can. I work 5.5, sometimes 6 days a week. I take Sundays. I definitely rest on the Sabbath, but there are some times in business that I am working on Saturdays. I wake up every morning at 4:30 in the morning and people are like, how can you wake up like that? And I'm like, well, I also want to be present as a mom. So in those dark morning hours that I get the work done, I also get to sit and have breakfast with my daughter. I get her get dressed for the day. I get to have a book time for her in the afternoon. We get to have lunch together. I am making sacrifices right now so that I can live at the best I possibly can. Do I take holidays? Yes, I do. I try to take 3 days off every quarter and in a segment. So completely unplugging. So we're doing nothing during this time. No computer, no phone. Every single month on the inside of Social Curator, we give our team a mental health day. On mental health days, I am not working on mental health days. So I understand, I'm never the person, Morgan, who's going to take a 2-week vacation. It hasn't existed in my entire career. I love it. I think it's amazing. It's just not where I'm at right now. I don't really have a desire. We take small pockets of vacation. So at the time of this recording, a week and a half ago, I did an event in New York, and I was able to bring my husband and my daughter. And so what we did is I went out there and I worked solid for a day and a half doing a production for something. And then 2 days later, like, we spent them as vacation days. So what we have found for us that work really well is I travel a lot for business. They come along with me, and then we will add vacation days on the back of that, but no, like, large pockets of time, not right now. But hey, to each their own, and this is where we're at, and we've both co-signed that this is what we're good with.
And what Jasmine's saying, I hopefully all understand, is that I think a lot of people get this twisted, is that if someone takes 2 weeks to do a month, to do a week, whatever it is, like, that's your playground, right? And that's the most important things. You have to understand your playground and know what it is. Longest I've taken is a week. On the 5th day, I get antsy.
Yeah.
I get so antsy. I'm like, okay, like, so I need to make a call. I need to hit somebody up. I'm like hitting my team, like, yo, we got to do this. And be like, yo, you still on vacation? Like, nah, I'm ready to go. Like, I'm good now. So I think everyone has to know, there's no way I think I could take 2 weeks. I just would be so antsy. I'd be like, I got to get after, like, what's going on? Like, we got to.
But that's to say, like, when you had said, like, on day 5, I have these ideas, and that's what happens. Like, I have a mentor.
Yeah.
And he said, the rest is the work. The rest is the work, because it is in our state of rest that we are able to come above ourselves and look at the situation from a different perspective. Because oftentimes as entrepreneurs, we make decisions in the moment. We make decisions in the experience. And what happens is, when you step away by taking a break, letting your brain, you actually float above it and say, oh, I never saw it from this perspective. Or what if we try this new thing? So on day 5, when you're hitting up your team, it's like, well, obviously, like, your brain was then empowered to think differently in that situation.
Exactly. Shout out to Larry. Larry, you'll give the detail months here. So it's good seeing you, good friend there. And I wanna ask this. I see the question in the chat. We're gonna get to it. We have about 8 minutes left. We're timely here. Again, hopefully y'all are getting still some fire insight. Some people are already saying they got a +1 already. So we love to hear that. You've mentioned a lot of strategies about social. You've talked about how you show up a lot with your family and personal and social. I'm very curious, like, what are some lesser known strategies? I like to call these, like, in the muck dirt strategies that people just, they're so nitty gritty, they're so granular, but they work because it's the non-scalable things that you've done in your career that's led to success on social.
I mean, people are going to be tired of me hearing this, and it's like, what's the lesser known strategy? Be consistent.
Yeah.
If you post once a day, you're in the 1%. So, like, what's the lesser known strategy? Do what the 1% is doing. That's it. Another thing that's pretty tactical is in stories to be posting a poll. Now, you and I have spoken about this before, and we've spoken about this before because we know it just freaking works. If people are like, oh, I don't have engagement, people are not talking back to me, well, you got to give them a way to engage. And
Right.
Instagram and other social platforms embed, I don't think these are called engagement drivers. I just call them engagement drivers. Like, there's like stickers that you could add so that people can vote on a poll or take a quiz or have a slider or show that they're actually watching what it is that you're doing. And if you really want to start driving conversations, put out a poll. And in the beginning, don't put a poll as like, do you like a 30-minute consult or a 45-minute consult?
Oh, yeah.
No one's going to vote on that. No one's gonna vote. They're going to vote on like a reality TV show, a book. Okay, exactly. So if you were to go in and you start having polls, very simple things that you think your dream customer is really interested in, and all they do is they vote yes or no, then what you can do is you go to the results and see everybody who voted yes, and you could send them a DM to be like, I agree. Like, this is, I'm definitely a Chicago pizza type of lover. And then anybody who voted on the poll about how they prefer New York style pizza, you can go through to anybody who voted no and simply say, listen, I like you, but you're wrong. And here's why, right? All you're basically doing is creating conversations with people so that you're personalizing the experience. People have to know that a real person exists on the other side of that account. And when they know that that person's real, they're more likely to engage with business content because they look at you as somebody who's helped them, cares for them, and really wants to genuinely engage with them. That kind of stuff, it's like, it's just in the weeds, gritty. This takes time. I don't see the ROI on it. And I'm like, oh, if you're patient enough, that stuff will come.
Okay. Consistency. Also, as well, find ways to allow the audience to engage with you. And so this next question is interesting because it doesn't have to do with a person, but it basically is helping someone else here. So right here, the thought process is insightful. What advice would you give a social media manager who's not creating content with their own personality and face? Is it content strictly about the product and service?
That's on the objective. If you're a social media manager, your job is to get into the head of either the CMO or the CEO, depending how big the organization is. What do they want? If they come to you and they say, we want our feeds to only be product driven, well, then that's fine. You could tell them studies show that 64% or posts that have humans in them perform 64% better than not. So you could tell the CEO or the CMO, like, these are your findings, but if they would like it, then you just deploy in their strategy. But at the end of the day, what you want to do is put together a proposal. What do you think would work best? So then there are some organizations that are really cool with their team members being part of the social content that they're creating to humanize it. Others are not. There are really creative ways for you to create reels that don't have people in them, but they're like a series of product related photos set to a trending song that can get a little bit of a pop. Do I think that every business needs to be personality driven? No, not at all. We see phenomenal organizations that don't have a singular person in it. But do I think that every so often incorporating a team member or a face or a voice would be beneficial? Absolutely. But here's the thing about being consistent. When you are consistent, it requires a higher volume of content. When you need a higher volume of content, you have to be willing to try new and different things. And so as a social media manager, if you explain that to your clients and say, listen, before you were doing X, I am proposing Y. Here is what I see. But what I need from you is just a series of patience because we need to see the analytics. The analytics are going to drive the next decisions. And when you have a black and white test of saying, listen, this reel had team members in it, and this reel was only product based, and this one did significantly better, then you're not dealing with emotions. You're not dealing with thoughts. You're not dealing with, a power struggle of who's right or wrong. It's like, here is the data. Let's make a data-driven decision.
Data decisions are the most important. Hopefully that helps answer your question there. We got 3 minutes left. This is more of a personal question here. Out of everything that you do, right? The social, the business, you obviously want to help people. What is the most fulfilling thing about what you do on a day-to-day basis?
There's no greater gift. There's no greater satisfaction than seeing your purpose align with an outcome. And so my best thing, the thing I like freaking love the most, which is why you and I have connected, is when I have a consultation or when I'm commissioned to come into a business to speak, to consult, when you see people deploy against the thing that you know and you believe, that is the greatest gift. My favorite thing is working with somebody like you or somebody else and then them deploying on it and getting results. And guess what? A lot of times, I mean, you could testify. A lot of times we get results that weren't what we want or weren't what we expected, but we got the results. We only get results when we do. So when I see people doing, they get the results, they're resilient, they pop back up, they try again. And guess what? The results aren't exactly what they wanted or expected, but then they get back up and then they try again. It is the action that is so freaking inspiring to me and my most favorite thing, because we got into the game not to become a winner. We got into the game to become the best part of ourselves, the best version of ourselves. And then when we are the best version of ourselves, we find ourselves winning. And that to me is the greatest gift, the favorite thing I love to do.
Awesome. And you're excellent at that across the board. So obviously it's been continuously great to know you. Y'all, we have a minute left. If you have like a rapid fire random question for Jasmine, like throw it in. But I'm gonna ask this question. What is your favorite candy?
My favorite candy?
Yeah.
I have a very hard time saying no to the Reese's Pieces Easter egg edition. It's the Easter egg. It's not like, so it's an Easter egg. And so the difference between the Reese's Pieces peanut butter cup and the Easter egg is that the Easter egg has a thinner layer of chocolate, because the Reese's Pieces around the edges, they got that thick piece of chocolate. I like that thin. You get that soft, buttery, smooth peanut butter middle. I mean, like, I opened it and I was just like, get behind me, Satan. This stuff is bad. Like, don't leave me alone with Reese's Pieces Easter eggs. Like, don't. It'll get dirty. It'll get dirty real fast.
All right, now we know. Now we know. That's I didn't even know they even had that version. So now I'm gonna go
Oh,
check
now
it
you
out.
now you're just straight up woke. I'm telling you, if I found Reese's Pieces Easter eggs in like the 99-cent store in like freaking December, I would be like, okay, I'm in too. I don't even care. I'm like, they old, they rancid, I'll still eat them. No, just
I
kidding.
didn't know these things were lit. All right, so now I know. Now what I know to get next. There we go. All right, Jasmine. Well, we're right at time. We'll respect your time. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
taking time with the audience here and answering questions. Let us know what you thought of it at the end of this, and if you actually did improve point 0.5 to 1 point. But before you do go, Jasmine, where can people find you, and who do you want to shout out?
People can find me on all social platforms at Jasmine Star. And who I want to shout out, I want to shout out the people who right now are about to take a photo of them or a video of them doing the dang work. What is doing the dang work? It means going back and investing in yourself and ongoing education. I know that people are probably watching while they are in their cubicle. They're watching as they're working on their side hustle. They're watching as like they're listening as they're in carpool lines for kids. It's like that right there is important. But what's more important is that your future customers and clients see you doing the dang work that it takes for you to get the results. So how then do you tell people how hard you are working? Well, you're creating content that is documenting your process. So watch what I do. Now, I know that we're on LinkedIn, but I'm going to go over and I'm going to create. I'm right here. I'm in stories.
There we
Let's
go.
go. Let's go, Morgan. Shout it out. Thank you, homie. Thank you.
Hey, yo,
Okay.
appreciate it. Appreciate it, Jasmine.
I just made a story. I'm going to post it. I'm going to tag. This is what we do. We show the behind the scenes of what it is we do. Thank you, Morgan. I appreciate you.
Yes, absolutely. Y'all have a good one. Cheers, and thank you once again, Jasmine.
Bye, y'all.